Well, on to an exclusive now. Multiple rates in GST could defeat the very purpose of that landmark tax. That's the word coming in from Rakesh Mohan, the former Deputy Governor of the Reserve Bank and somebody who was also a part of the 1991 reform process. Mohan told me that by giving in to the multiple rates, the government may have inadvertently opened the floodgates for some hectic lobbying by industry in the future. Here's that chat. As the government goes full throttle towards rolling out GST by the 1st of July, not everyone is happy with some of the nuances of the new tax. Rakesh Mohan, a former Deputy Governor at the Reserve Bank, who has also been a key member of the 1991 reforms team, says his primary concern is the multiple GST rates announced by the Council. He feels this structure overcomplicates the tax system while diluting the import of the reform.
It absolutely does.
It dilutes.
It really dilutes the value of the GST by having so many rates. And in looking at some of the arguments in the press, in the media, also some delegations that I've seen wandering around trying to lobby with the government on different rates, I have a sense of deja vu because we really worked hard in the 1990s to simplify the then excise structure to Senvat. So it used to be the case that before the budget, there used to be umpteen delegations, someone talking about biscuits, someone talking about milk, someone talking about some particular type of gear or some particular type of machinery, etc., all of which had different rates. The same thing has started again. So I'm a little apprehensive whether we will take another 10 years to clean up the 5 rates that we've now got for the GST, because one consequence of that is that people will be constantly lobbying to get the rates reduced in one way or the other.
The government's argument has been that, you cannot have the same rate of taxation on a product that is consumed by the relatively well-off vis-a-vis the poor.
Well,
so this was given the example of luxury car or luxury hotel.
This was the argument that was used for the N excise rates we used to have. We used to have 36%, 24%, 50%, 5%, 2%, 12%, 18%, etc. We had, given the experience around the world, we had then come down to a Senvat of 18% or 16% in the late 90s, early 2000s. We'd gone through all of those arguments.
Right.
I've participated as Chief Economic Advisor 2001-2002. I've participated in those arguments in terms of really reducing the number of rates.
This does not mean he is not appreciative of the efforts taken by the central and state governments to finally make GST a reality.
It's a miracle to get 28 or more state governments to agree to some huge reform like this. By the way, this could never happen in the United States. 50 states that would never agree on. So I think that we have done something really innovative by having the institution, the empowered state finance ministers, the committee, empowered committee of state finance ministers, which has now become the GST Council. So I think we've done an amazing thing.
However, he's still not sold in on the need for the anti-profiteering clause that has been included in the legislation, one that has already created quite a stir among industry leaders.
The question really is to do with the level of competition in a particular industry. That presumably, if there was enough competition, then that wouldn't happen. So the question is that in the area where there is the suspicion, is it the case that those industries don't have enough competition? I don't know the answer to that. Which areas they are more worried about, actually.
So therefore, you're saying that, perhaps there wasn't much need to have a clause like this because competition would have taken care of the
unless you really believe, unless you have evidence, right, and you understand that, look, there are some competition issues in these particular industries.
On its part, the government, though, is ready to roll out the most significant tax reform in the history of independent India, one that has been 15 years or more in the making. This will take place at a special function in the Central Hall of the Parliament at the stroke of midnight as June gives way to July, with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, former Prime Ministers Manmohan Singh and H.D. Devegowda, and Chief Ministers from various states in attendance. In New Delhi, Ronojoy Banerjee.